Okay, welcome friends and happy Easter or happy Good Friday. Today is the last day of our chick hatch and I know a lot of you have been following this. So I'll start with the good stuff. Let's show you some of the chicks. Don't know if you can see them through the incubator or not, but a few of them have hatched. And if I just lift the lid here, you'll be able to see the beautiful, beautiful chicks that have hatched. Okay, so two of those are looking quite fluffy and dry. So we'll move those across, and then for that one, you see that one's still wet, so that's going to need a bit longer drying off. So what I'll do is make sure I close the incubator as soon as possible. Let's get the two I want out, and then we'll just move them over to their cage now. So this is Egg Norton and Egg Sheeran, and who's the other one? Because there's a third chick here. I'm not sure, somebody might have already taken the shell out of that one, so I'm not entirely sure. So I'll just get this back closed on them, because while they're drying off, it's actually really important they stay as dry as possible. Right, those guys have just decided to get back in, which is quite annoying for me. So what I'll do is I'll just move them across temporarily, and then I'll talk you through the setup once I've moved them and got that one back drying. There you are, little chickie. You just have a bit longer drying off. Now, it's likely that many more will hatch. It's just that they haven't yet. There's still quite a few eggs to go, and a lot of them have started pipping, so that's fantastic news. So these guys, here they are. Oh, also look at my Easter farm tattoo. So hopefully you can see there, Egg Sheeran. Ooh, please don't fall out of my hand on camera. That would be a disaster. So you can just about see, if I focus in on the nose and it stays still, you should be able to see the egg tuft at the very end of the beak. And that's just a little knobble they have on their beak at the beginning to be able to help them get through the egg. There you are, I can see it now properly, so hopefully you can as well. Okay, and what you're going to see then is the cage. Now, what's really important when you hatch chicks in this way is that you replicate for them the environment that they would be being kept in by their mum. So we have this device here which is called, sorry, it says I can't rotate my phone, I've done it again, I did this yesterday. You can't rotate your phone while you're doing a Facebook Live, so I need to learn that. This thing here is called an electric hen. It's also known as a brooder. That's happening there. This is one that is by a company called Comfort Chicks, and what's really important is it's kept nice and low while they're very small, so that they can shuffle underneath it and stay nice and warm like they would with their mum. They've also then got this, which is a feeder, which we fill with a thing called chick crumb, and that will just be over the next few days as they learn to eat and peck. They'll be able to start eating some of that chick crumb. Now this is a waterer. I nearly tilted my phone again. I'm really not learning very well, am I? This is a waterer, and it's actually really important when chicks are little that they have a type of water like this that they can't drown themselves in. For some reason, I don't know if it's like because it's like being inside an egg, but chicks have this kind of inborn instinct to kind of drown themselves, which can be really dangerous if you've got bodies of water near them. So if we use this kind of trough feeder with a nice shallow amount of water, they'll get the water they need without hopefully finding ways of drowning themselves. So yeah, this is our guys. These are our two first Easter chicks. They're actually our two first chicks of this year in its entirety, because we're a bit later than normal starting our hatch, and you can see they're absolutely beautiful. So, I don't know if anybody has any questions, or if there's anything else you want me to cover, but this is the last stage of the hatching. The beautiful babies, and setting up the cage ready for them to grow. One of the things we have to be careful about when setting up the cage is being tempted to put in a lot of sawdust and wood shavings, but actually a really thin layer makes more sense because they're learning how to take their first steps. Now imagine if you had to take your first steps. I think so. So imagine if you had to take your first steps as a person, as a human.
That's of me.
Did you do it as well? Did you press the side button?
No, that's of me. There we go.
Oh, okay. If you had to take your first steps in a ball pit, so it wouldn't be very nice, it wouldn't be very easy. So it's really important that when any animal is learning to walk for the first time, that it's got a fairly solid surface to do it on. And I always see people putting in far too much bedding because they think, oh, that'll be comfier for them, but it can actually make it really difficult for them to learn to walk. So yeah, that's our Easter chicks. I don't want to bother that one much more, but we could have a look inside our other incubator, and just to see if anybody is pipping.
What does pipping mean, Kate?
So pipping is when they create a hole at the fat end of the egg, and that's going to be the hole that they make. And I think I described it in the first week. They unzip the fat end of the egg as if it's a hat, and then they push themselves out. So there's no pipping in that incubator, but they can take 24 hours to hatch from their due date, and sometimes a little bit longer. And these ones have come up nice and early, and they were out first thing this morning when you came in, which is why they've had time to dry out. There are eggs pipping in this one, but I don't want to disturb that little one as little as possible. Let me see if I can just... Can you see here? It's just created a little hole. It's just learning to breathe, and then inside it's just going to unzip this back end of the egg so that it can pop it off like a little party hat. So that's what we mean when we say pipping. And I can actually hear it carrying on inside. So yeah, I don't think we're going to get a live birth on our Facebook Live, but still, that's a pipping egg. I better put it back in because it needs to stay lovely and warm to hatch. And just make sure that a quick close look at the wet little chick. You can see this is a good strong chick as well. It's just that it's hatched that bit later than the other two, so it hasn't had a chance to dry off and fluff up yet. So this is our newest Easter chick. Okay. Have we got any questions from the audience?
Not that I can see.
No.
No.
Okay, well we'll probably better call it then. Have a happy Easter everyone. We hope you've enjoyed our series on chick hatching. Yeah, this is our newest Easter baby. So thank you guys. Bye.